Good morning from me and welcome to our presentation. My name is Thomas Stahl. I am the head of digital services at ABUS KG, and I have been asked to explain the path at ABUS from the first idea through to today's situation. And I've got a small presentation of the company, and we will start with a brief presentation of the company. So, 100 years ago, ABUS started in. We've been celebrating the 100th anniversary all through the year, on various occasions. 100 years ago, the ABUS founder was founded with the aim of making life that little bit safer. Today, we are at a stage where we cover many business areas. We have a lot of products on the market, a lot of security products, and true to the motto, living in a secure and unnoticed manner. That's our market strategy, which has not changed much over the last 100 years. And today, our vision remains the same. ABUS itself has 5 sites in Germany, 3 companies, ABUS, August Premiker Söhne, KG in Wetter. This is the headquarters. Then we have a subsidiary company, ABUS Security Center in Uffing, near Augsburg, as well as our production sites in Rehem in the Westerwald area, where we produce domestic security products and security products for bicycles made in Germany. We have ABUS Pfaffenheim near Jansdorf, which is concerned with locking systems, and we have 1,600 employees throughout Germany. Of course, we are organized on a global basis. We have 4,000 employees in 25 subsidiaries in 102 countries. And that's how we cover the international markets. The portfolio of ABUS is divided into 3 main areas: domestic security, property security, and mobile security, which covers, for example, motorcycles, bicycles, cycling helmets, etc. And here some references. These are references from locking systems, access controls, video surveillance, and these are areas where we've been active for many years. And now Christian will take over. And now that you've learned something about ABUS, let me make a presentation as IT perspective. Many know us from the PIM environment, but IT people have more to do than PIM. We're not new to the market, but after 10 years, we still feel like a startup. But we were founded in 1993. We have roughly 5,000 employees throughout the world. And as I've said, we are involved not only with PIM, but we are involved generally in data management. And this typically starts at the origin of the data, various systems installed in the company. And data integration is a very important subject. I don't want to name precise figures, but we have over 500 connectors that enables us to move data between source and target. And we learned eventually that we can do much more with data, and then we've added the subject of data quality, because it's no good having poor data quality and moving them from A to B. But for example, you need qualities, setting up reference tables, and that's how the topic of data quality became involved. And following on from this, data governance, which is also a subject which is a topic in many companies, and many companies are concerned with this. But what is this ultimately? It's ultimately about understanding where are my data, in what systems, what data are where, are these sensitive data, do they need to be protected? For example, GDPR. What about my material master data? With PM system or engineering tools? And it's also about the question, do we have the same understanding throughout the company? If someone talks about article numbers and other people perhaps have a different number from SAP, and their understanding of different terms is different. And data governance tries to create the context so that the same language is spoken throughout the company. And then we come to the master data management, which also involves the PIM topic, where it's ultimately about having all master data in the company summarized at one central point. We talk about golden records, or the single source of truth. There are different descriptions available, and then to do something with the data. For example, with PIM, to go the extra mile, for example, to what we've got the data from the company, and to prepare these for the market, for the various channels, for example, print, or perhaps other use cases which can be added, digital projects, sustainability, where more and more data are available in the company, but also have to be collected externally. These are subjects that concern us. We are not just PIM, but we are end-to-end and cover the entire spectrum of data management. And that brings me to the end of the IT introduction. Now, let me hand back to Thomas to continue, and we will look at how the ABUS journey started with PIM and the challenges that we faced along the way. The term IT PIM will come up a lot because PIM is something we've been using for many years. And let me go through the agenda. We will start with a bit of history between 2006 and 2015. This is the starting phase of PIM at ABUS, various challenges prior to the introduction of Informatica, of IT. Okay, we had IT, but there was a need to change to Informatica PIM. And then the functions and capabilities in the context of the PIM, and the journey with Informatica from the old system through, and I will show the journey and the direction this has taken. And we have various interfaces and exports. If you have one interface towards ERP, and then the digital distribution, which also needed to be taken into account in the Informatica environment. Then we have the second area, the benefits, best practices. We've improved the data quality, which we've just heard about, which is the Informatica domain, optimization of products, information management in print catalogs. So if we have a dialogue between the information team and the PIM team, then we need to exchange experience concerning Informatica and the PIM suite, so that we can then show the combination and how we use this. We have a demo. We will accompany one product through the bridge platform. We will show you a web client, and then show how this is shown in the print suite and on the publishing level through to the finished catalog. So we will show the entire process for one product. And then we'll have the, I think, exciting outlook for ABUS. We have a couple of Informatica instances underway, and that will be a major project for the coming years. So that's the introduction. Then we can start with the background. Some are aware of this. Others have not experienced this at ABUS. I joined ABUS in 2006, and since then I've been responsible for the PIM system, and the journey started in 2006. And at the time at ABUS, we wanted to move away from the manual, time-intensive product catalog, and now we want to have up to 3 languages on one page. All the creative people had the freedom of design. No templates were used. The catalogs were prepared for exhibitions. A deadline was laid down by the exhibition company, but most of these were missed, and the printer had to make up for this. So it was very much a just-in-time project to get them ready for the exhibition. We also wanted to move away from Quark Express. That was the standard design tool in 2006. We wanted to move through to Adobe design, so that then we started the project and said the automation of catalogs on the basis of Adobe design. What do we need in order to be able to start catalogs in the first place? We needed a lot of data, and in 2006, data quality was already an important topic. So we started looking for, I don't know whether we talked about PIM systems in 2006. It was a system to manage marketing data, and that the company could use as a data hub. We started with a web-based solution, and up until everything went well, the project started completely, and alongside the actual PIM system, of course, we had to take the catalog texts, and we needed a lot of assets in addition to these texts, and we had various languages: Dutch, English, French, German, and other languages followed over the course of the years. Then we started with a focus on print. As I mentioned, we wanted to automate the catalog production, but then we soon noticed that once we were able to maintain the data in PIMS, once we had the first websites and B2B shops, they were able to benefit from the data quality, and we exported this as well as the export, so that we had we were able to deliver up-to-date data. Coming back to the print process, we first of all concentrated on the on-demand filling of InDesign templates. So we had an InDesign, a plugin to the PIM system at the time, which enabled us, for example, to take a product or to trigger a product or a chapter. That worked quite well, but it was very tedious because the workstation was blocked for the entire process, and we were unable to use it for other things. During the subsequent automation, we put our faith in the InDesign server. We found a solution with templates with the InDesign server, and over the course of years, we received a level of automation of in excess of 90%. So we produced a lot of catalogs with the old system, and now we were able to produce them very effectively and automated. It was also, we were able to produce a large volume of catalogs at the same time, and we could trigger them in the evening, and in the morning they were ready when we came into the office. The possibility to print lots of catalogs in different languages is, of course, very favorable given the increasing number of languages involved. It enabled us to contain the costs and produce various language versions simultaneously. It was a great thing. We could produce catalogs in series, but also produce 6 languages at the same time. And at that point, this is where the first task had been completed. We had clarified data holding and achieved the automation of the catalogs. In addition, the automation of the data on the digital platform. That was a very important matter at the time in order to counter this manual maintenance. Then, of course, we had challenges prior to the introduction of Informatica PIM. Informatica was not on our screen at the time because we were quite satisfied with our old PIM system. So the challenges were not of a technical nature. The system in use had not yet come up against its limits. It could be used, but we had the feeling that we had a problem as regards the future. Now let's move forward to 2015. In 2015, we were informed that the PIM system we were using had been sold. I personally, I then made a presentation to the existing supplier at the time in terms of showing how the system was used at ABUS. But during the presentation and in subsequent discussions, it quickly became clear that the system no longer had a future for the customer or for ABUS. So that brought us along the route to Informatica. There was an impact from the ABUS Security Center, which had been using the Informatica PIM for several years. So they had experience, and they entered the validation phase with these prejudices. And after a short time, they concluded contracts and started the data migration. So it was quite clear that we would move to this Informatica platform because our experience through the subsidiary had been fairly good. In 2016, we had roughly 30,000 articles in the system, roughly 2,500 products, with 23,000 assets without derivatives. But I think at the time, we had 12 to 13 derivatives that we had generated. Today we have 17. And in 2016, we already had 13 languages in the system. Then we had the path Informatica PIM. We wanted to migrate without significant data loss, and the entire data model was checked in great detail. And a lot of work was invested. We carried out a review with the service provider, and that was where we were then able to set up the data module and take over the data. Of course, this took a lot of time. Before we had the data in PIM in usable form, we generated data export scripts, which we then imported into the Informatica PIM. And after a lot of pain and effort in 2016, in the middle of 2016, we concluded the Informatica PIM project and switched off the old machines. Alongside the migration, we'd set up a lot of digital distribution, perhaps export for specialist dealers or for digital platforms, for associations, or perhaps simply an internal CSV export. And these data had again to be made available in Informatica. And as from the end of 2016, we were on the Informatica platform with our range of products. And I'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah. Important functions and capabilities in the context of print publishing. By switching to Informatica PIM, we lost our highly automated catalog production. That was a very negative situation. But then we looked at solutions like In-Between, and one of the others was PrintSuite. At the time when all these things were presented to us, it all sounded very interesting. All systems could more or less do what we wanted. But when we looked at things in more detail, we saw PrintSuite as offering the greatest potential, and that's the system we chose. The most important function in interplay with templates is the web surface of PrintSuite, so that we have visual support in the printing process. And our current level of automation has not yet again reached 90%, but working with Print Suite is much more agreeable and more intuitive than in the past. The old templates, of course, we were only able to continue using these to a limited extent, but that was quite a good system. But in the old system, we had an old template generated for each product and each catalog page, and that was chaos. Print Suite enabled us to exploit opportunities such as logics, dependencies, and print sequences so that we were able to reduce the number of templates than had been the case in the past. And now we are on the Informatica platform, and that's where our journey with Informatica starts. We carried out the migration, but of course, after roughly 10 years of operation, the old PIM was firmly rooted in the company system. Interfaces to move data such as customs tariff numbers, gross weights, etc. We needed these to supplement the status information. The page distribution for articles to websites and partnerships. The website is currently supplied via XML format, and the partner portals, our B2B portal, which today comprises 16 shops, are updated in this manner on a daily basis. All these processes and data flows have to be taken into account. So in 2016, we started preparing an extensive list of cases, which I've mentioned. And we completed the data migration to the Informatica platform. The process was accompanied by a review of the master data. That was important because we had a lot of inherited burdens that we did not wish to take with us. So we were able to exclude obsolete data from the migrations so that we no longer had them available on the platform. Thomas, I think on the right-hand side, we can see a strange XML chart. This reflects what we just talked about. Do you generate this yourselves, or do you have a service provider to help you? Yes. I would say we do most of this ourselves, but of course we have support from service providers because these Informatica interfaces are quite complicated. With a bit of knowledge, you can deal with them, but our current exports are mainly done ourselves, but other things have been done with service providers. And in this way, the system is very connective in all directions. Everything can be done. So somewhere you have a central competency center that, it's up on the stage here. No, my team is here, down here in the first row, and my colleagues are absolutely familiar with this system, and we share work and support each other, but know-how has increased over a period of many years, and we make daily use of this.
Okay, I just talked about revising the old data. This is wonderful because there were many things we no longer needed in the system and never looked at again. In parallel with the data model that actually forms the basis for each PIM, we also built up the system periphery. We back then decided to install 3 periphery: test, acceptance, and a productive periphery, which is installed on-premise virtually at ABUS. This means that in each area we have an app, 2 job servers, and 1 NUM server, and a database server, which had 3 instances to be it acceptance or productive, to provide these with data. Then, after creating the data model for 3 months and the installation of scripts in mid-2016, we migrated to Informatica PIM. The exports, depending on the runtime, were implemented 60%. So for a long time, the exports weren't finished. Nevertheless, we had to change the system. The reason was the following. How shall I put it? Our catalog period, as in spring, we create the catalogs for mobile security, and in summer, for the trade fairs, the product innovations are needed on the digital platforms, so that we had a clearly set time window to comply with. The double data management was not acceptable at that point in time because we simply didn't have the human resources. Then we used the print suite to reconfigure the whole publishing. So the following catalog was the first one in 2017 to be realized with the print suite. That was in early 2017. Towards the end of 2016, we were finally done with the exports, the outputs. So this means that we had 1 year of a migration time from the old system to Informatica PIM. And I can only say that this effort should not be underestimated. There was no idle time. There was permanently pressure on us to comply with the time window. Well, we now come to the current times. Of course, with Informatica PIM, we were able to use the queue rules for the first time. And after the migration, we use this to check for completeness. To check the content remains difficult, but you can at least check the data sets for completeness. And in this environment, the queue rules helped us to detect incomplete data and eliminate them. And we also defined tasks referring to the missing content. So we were able to generate a task immediately, assign it to a person, and this person could then look at the missing content. Well, I think data quality is a topic that we touched upon several times, also by the previous speakers. And this is an important module within the context of PIM. And as you can see pretty well here, you can see an assessment of the various quality levels, not only across the life cycle of a product, all the way down to the time when all departments have managed this data, but also across all channels, because the requirements are different. If I want to show the same product in the web, then of course I need much more information. And I have so much space, which I do not have on a print page. And I guess that this was an important event for you as well, to really transparently see the quality of your data, the quality of the data in your system. Yeah, basically, for us, it was important to actually detect the missing data or missing content in the run-up and not only on the output platform. Like this spelling check in Word. But to stay with data quality, this is an ongoing process. We have a very versatile product portfolio with many boxes and many attributes, and this is why we have to really stay on the ball and work towards data quality every single day. Optimization of the PIM for print catalogs. That's a nice heading. Through the structured GUI of the rich client, all needed information can be configured and saved in various views. This is a great thing because you can actually recall these views at any time you need them and actually manage the data or edit the data. And you will also see this in the featured demo. Initially, we planned our catalogs in PIM. We didn't have the print suite connected yet. There was an export structure, and sequentially we uploaded our products and articles to then produce at the push of a button through the ESET server. This worked quite well already. Also, not needing too much time, but what was missing was the visualization of the pages, the index pages, the decorative pages with the page numbering. And we could only see this in the finished PDF. So you rendered something, then you had to redo it because you only saw it in the finished PDF. For an optimized print production, this is far too late, of course. We then solved this problem by deploying the print suite, which actually looks at the pre-rendered pages and makes them visible perfectly. And this really eases the daily work on the catalog. The individual pages of the whole catalog could be previewed through this technical feature all of a sudden. And we will see this in the screenshot demo in a minute. The better cooperation between the data team, and because the catalogs are created for trade fairs, can now be optimized, because the product managers can only be involved and asked to review the data in this pre-show phase. And this means that during the proofreading stages, changes of text and images can be submitted by the product managers to my team or to the catalog team. So we're the two points of contact. And we decided to equip the graphic artists department with IT tools. So we were able to introduce changes right away, because you could process it in InDesign, bypassing the PIM. But with the web client, we did away with this. And in this configuration, it became possible for the first time to actually introduce changes in PIM right away and actually update the print suite. Also, the following catalog 1 year later was far more efficient in production. And it was so easy to deduce this from the previous year's projects because the templates were available. In our catalogs, we do not renew everything. There are many products that are long-lived and traditional, so that we only change minor details. So we can actually use an existing template in the follow-up catalog by just updating it. And this is why the catalog was finished in the fraction of the time. And the print process actually ensured a smoother catalog planning. In the past, there was going back and forth. The print shop set a deadline. They wanted data. And in this way, we actually calmed down the whole process with all of the parties involved. Well, an important takeaways from the cooperation between ABUS, Informatica PIM with the print suite. Well, I can only compare with the predecessor system. And Informatica PIM and the print suite are a very good combination of database and publishing tool. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not paid for saying this, but in actual fact, this is great. There's nothing worse than a publishing system that is not available under pressure of time, or that is has an overload. And this was hardly the case. So our catalog production was stable, and this was really great for us. And the initial work involved for producing the templates, which costs money and time, And this is, of course, amortized by the reusability across various languages and production cycles. The longer I can use the template and the more languages I can produce, the better the price can be justified. Well, this was the rough journey. Now I have prepared this print screen demo to give you an insight into the data. This is bicycle helmets, our category. So this is the management structures. Urban is the name of the category, and here you find the bicycle helmets, and you've got the Pearly, the item called Pearly. And this product in the right-hand side has 33 versions. These 33 versions will later be shown in the printed page. So this means colors and sizes. So there are 11 colors in S, M, and L, three sizes, and this brings us to 33 versions. In the bottom right, you can see the 20 languages that only refer to the facet colors. Who uses the bridge client? The bridge client is only used by my team right now. And we mainly use it to manage mass data and to attach assets, as we will see later, and to build all of the structures. So it is about inheriting attributes, for instance, and this is all done by my team. So you're using the rich client as an expert tool and the other client for the massive data. Yeah, this is the rich client is so powerful in functionality that somebody who only uses this twice a month can't master this rich client as a tool. This is a view that reflects media assets. This is an image preview, and in the center and bottom area, the attached media asset types we've saved. So frontal view, top view, and further down, you can see the 17 derivatives for our target platform that we render for our MAM platform right away. Yeah, the processor. In this view, this is various views. This is a product detail page. It's long and short texts and attached assets. And a further view in PIM. This is the web client. The same article stored so that we can also see the views in the web client. And here you could automatically click in and change the long and short texts. And through this web client, we have a wonderful opportunity to view data and actually further process this data. So this is the GUI of the print suite. This is not even the latest version we're using, but want to change this. In the left-hand side, you can see the whole catalog planning with the various chapters, road to be in urban. And when you actually click on this, you can find the Pearly again with the various product versions listed as an EN code. And this is a wonderful opportunity to actually have this chart with the complete diversity of versions in a preview to not only see it later in the print process. This is the pre-rendered page in the print suite. So you can see the various versions, the items stored, what is the image design, what are the image sequences, and so on and so forth. And at the end, our catalog team added an environmental image. So this was adding the final touches to finish the catalog page 294. And this is what the finished rendered catalog page looks like in the end. Well, outlook. I've also, of course, brought an outlook because this is not the end of our journey. When the context of PIM and digital publishing, ABUS will continue actually manage in PIM country-specific, language-specific content. In the past, we only reached out to specialist dealers, but this communication was technical and it was not fit for end users. So we only addressed targeted specialist dealers. As a result, the information and product texts were hard to understand for end users and therefore not ideal for B2C usage. This is really a problem because through our corporate website, we also wanted to reach out to end users and failed to do so. As a result, all of the texts and products and all of the language had to be edited, re-edited to be tuned to consumers. And after exporting this to our corporate website, we saw that the dwell time rose substantially. So we made everything right. We really focused on B2C. Now we're using the B2C text in all of the channels and are really happy with it. And even specialist dealers can work with these texts. This was a steep learning curve for us. Within the framework of our PIM consolidation process with the two Informatica instances I already mentioned, it is so that we will also have channel-specific texts in future. So there will be different texts on trader or dealer platforms, on websites, that are explicitly designed for these platforms. So content is king, as we say. In 2024, ABUS had 46,700 items and over 2,000 products and over 3,000 assets without derivatives and 20 languages that we saw a minute before. Well, then what's exciting is our current project. At ABUS, we have two Informatica instances running. ABUS Kasuke Center is working for 2 more years with the system, or has been working for 2 additional years with the system. You may wonder why 2 instances. Back then, for a reason. The product, the paradigms and the data model were completely different. Our subsidiary, for a good reason, went for a clear article database, and we, at the ABUS KG, when you look at log cylinders, we're very version driven. We often have 800 versions per cylinder. And this is why we opted for the article paradigm, so that we show the whole tables that we can manage properly. The 2 instances have been running since 2016 in parallel. This is painful and hardly recommendable. We did it for the past 2 years, but each digital distribution that we initiate, that we need, be it for a dealer's platform or web store or website, there are always 2 exports, one from our PIM and one from the PIM of our subsidiary. And over the past years, people voiced the wish for central data storage. In 2022, we had a close look at this, ran a comprehensive analysis on how to handle our data in future. And after the analysis, we knew that we wanted to combine the 2 system landscape in one data model in order to be perfectly fit for the future. The migration project has been going on since 2023 now. The data model is on the verge of being ready, and the Azure architecture is largely finalized, so that in the near future we can combine the 2 systems. The project will take until the end of 2025, though. And this was our journey with Informatica and our legacy system.